Hi guys, it's Miss Meyer for another episode of the Miss Meyer Show. So today we're going to continue talking about Spanish Louisiana and moving forward. The last time we spoke, we talked about Eula and all of his wonderful things that were going on, all the problems he encountered, and how he had to kind of leave Louisiana, go back to Spain, and get the assistance of the king to help him again. So right now, what we're going to be focusing on is, let's see, turn in your textbook to the very beginning, and we're going to talk about Luis de Gonzaga. Now, Gonzaga was the one who came after O'Reilly had left. Now, remember, O'Reilly was called Bloody O'Reilly. He was really like meant business. He was going to make sure that the people of Louisiana were listening to him and doing what was supposed to be done. They were not going to be messing around like they did with Eula and, doing whatever they wanted and, burning statues of him or things like that. So O'Reilly had finally left, okay? And now the next guy comes around, and his name is Luis de Gonzaga. Now, Gonzaga came here, and he was a pretty calm and easygoing man. He, was really trying to make peace with the people. Whereas Eula kind of dismissed the whole process and kind of just like didn't really care. And O'Reilly was really, hard on them. Gonzaga was very easygoing and wanted things to be peaceful. He wanted things to work out for Spain. Now, the colony prospered under Gonzaga. He established the first public schools, and he worked to improve the economy. He did all kinds of things. He even did things that were kind of not supposed to be done, like trading with the English, because it benefited the colony of Louisiana. So he was not above kind of like bending the law to try to benefit this colony. Remember, Louisiana was not making money. We were not profiting. And so we wanted, that's what the people wanted, that's what the King of Spain wanted. So Gonzaga was trying to make sure that if something benefited the colony, he was going to kind of let it slide. Okay? So New Orleans became the center of business and trade activity. And like I said, even though it was illegal to trade with other countries other than Spain, I mean, it was like a closed system. Louisiana could only trade with Spain because they belonged to Spain. So if Louisiana needed, I don't know, let's say gunpowder, it was illegal for Gonzaga and the Louisiana people to go to England to get the gunpowder because they were Spanish controlled. If they needed a supply, they had to go to Spain. Well, if it benefited the colony, if it made sense for Louisiana to trade with England, he was. So if he could get that gunpowder at a cheaper rate and not have to go and spend so much over at Spain, he was going to do it, even though it was against the law. So he was willing to, like I said, bend it for the benefit of Louisiana. Well, around this time, remember, this is like America has not even been formed yet. This is like 13 colonies. Well, during this time of Gonzaga's reign as governor, the American Revolution happens. The 13 colonies, the English colonies, start arguing with the King of England, and they decide to separate. Well, who's Spain's biggest enemy? It's England. So Spain kind of doesn't want to really get too much involved, because even though they hate England, England is a major superpower. And with that if they anger that superpower, they're afraid that they're going to fight these colonies, they're going to win, and they're going to come after Spain. So Spain and Louisiana kind of stayed out of it for a little bit. It became this huge revolution, and we know that, on July 4th, 1776, the colonial delegates approved a document declaring their independence from the United States, independence from Great Britain, and became the United States of America. So Governor Gonzaga allowed the English to trade within the colony. He allowed that to happen because, like I said, he did not want to anger them. He did not want to make them really angry at him. To Gonzaga and everybody else, it seemed as though these little 13 colonies had no chance whatsoever to defeat Major England. So when this war broke out, they were like, we're not going to even get involved. And if England wants to come mess around here, we'll let them do it, because we know that they're going to just blow these little colonies out of the water, and we don't want them to come to us next and say, well, you didn't help us, and now we're coming after you. So in the beginning, Unzaga and a lot of almost everybody else was willing to kind of work with the English, because they thought that these little bitty countries had no way that they were little bitty, colonies were never going to win. Well, like I said, they hated England. So Unzaga and the people of Louisiana, they didn't like England either. So they were more willing to help these colonists, even though they were allowing English business to be done around the port of New Orleans. They really disliked them, and if they could kind of underhandedly help the colonists and the American revolutionaries, they were. Now, one guy was a guy by the name of Oliver Pollock, and he was an American merchant who arrived in Louisiana with 2 boatloads of wheat while O'Reilly was governor. Well, the colony of Louisiana was suffering from a food shortage at that time, so O'Reilly allowed Pollock to sell the wheat in New Orleans, and by doing that, he helped fund the American Revolution, because Pollock was an American revolutionary, and it helped the people of Louisiana by giving them food. So once again, we see where Unzaga was willing to kind of break the rules when it helped Louisiana. Now, by doing this also, Pollock and O'Reilly developed a really good relationship. And when American revolutionaries came to Louisiana seeking help, Pollock would go over to Unzaga and say, hey, help these guys out. They're good people. You know, they're really willing to, they want to do a good thing. So this relationship between the colonies and Spanish Louisiana started to develop. And that was mainly through Pollock and Unzaga. Now, after Unzaga left Louisiana, a new guy came in, and his name was called Bernardo de Galvez, and he became governor. Now, he worked with Pollock as well, but he didn't really like him. There wasn't this friendly kind of relationship between the two people like it was with Unzaga. Unzaga, you know, Galvez married Unzaga's sister-in-law, so he became very popular right there. And he worked, like I said, with the American revolutionaries. So what happened eventually is that, you guys know this, the American revolutionaries started winning. France came in and started helping them out, and they started winning. And when we saw this, you know, happening, the Galvez and Spain decided that they too were going to help the American revolutionaries. So now you had, in this war of independence, you had the French coming in through the Atlantic Ocean, you had French coming in through the Canadian area, you had the Spanish coming in with Florida and Louisiana, so the British were kind of like stuck. They had nowhere to go. So we all know the story. You know, eventually England gave up. They said, okay, we surrender, and America was awarded their independence. Now, America at that time was not what it looked like today. Louisiana and Florida were not part of the United States of America at first. It was mainly, the United States was kind of just the 13 colonies and part of, you know, oh gosh, Michigan and areas like that, just kind of a little bit up there. I'm making a map, pretend map right here, and it's like, this little part is America. If you want to imagine, that's the part. So the treaty that ended the American Revolution, they forced England to give independence to America and Florida to Spain. Baton Rouge and the rest of the West Louisiana was now all Spain. Spain owned all of the Gulf Coast right now. Because remember, England did not like France, and they weren't giving anything to France. And if they were going to surrender, the terms of the surrender were that they were going to give it to Spain and not France. Okay? Well, Galvez, he leaves office. In comes a guy by the name of Miro. Now, Miro, again, was a very intelligent guy. He spoke several languages. He was very smart. People liked him a lot. So you had 3 governors here from Spain that were very well liked. And underneath Miro, the colony grows. the colony grew dramatically. About 7,500 people lived here when Spain took control, but over the next 40 years, the population grew to approximately 50,000. That is a major amount of people, guys. That's a ton of people coming here. So one reason for this growth was Spain, like France, they viewed the colony in military terms. For the French, Louisiana helped protect Canada, but for the Spanish, Louisiana and the colony protected the gold and silver that were in Mexico. So they weren't really looking at Louisiana as this profitable place because they couldn't profit on it. This is before they started growing tobacco and cotton and all those things. So they were only looking at it as kind of like a gateway to protect what they really were worried about. So it was kind of like Louisiana, New Orleans, and that whole area was kind of like a security system. And that system was to protect their real interest, which was Mexico. When France had control, Louisiana was once again a security system to protect their real interest, which was Canada. So when they brought people here, they brought them here as protection. So they weren't really caring if they brought planters and farmers and, you know, people that could grow the economy here in Louisiana. They wanted to protect mainly against their enemy, who was England. And that's why our colony grew so large. Now, one way that Spain tried to build a population was by offering land grants. We know that Spain tried kidnapping people, lying to get people here, sending their criminals, sending the bad kids, doing all this kind of stuff. Spain did not want to go that shady of a route. So they decided that they were going to give people land grants. And basically it said that you would get a parcel of land, and that land was a big piece of land, property. It would be promised to each family who would settle in Louisiana. The parcels were not big pieces of land, and they weren't in pristine locations. Most of it was like swampy area that had to be cleared out with trees and alligators and all this other kinds of stuff. So you can imagine not a lot of people, once they figured out what they were getting, were wanting to come here. So the governor also said that they were going to provide them tools, a rooster, 2 hens, 2 pigs, and supplies for a whole year. So with that, people were like, oh, that sounds like a good deal. That's too good to pass up. So we were able to, with that little addition, to get more people here. And we did get a good group of people here. The Isleños, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to the Isleños Museum over in St. Bernard Parish. Chalmette, woot woot, right? Okay, but there is an Isleños Museum in St. Bernard Parish, which is pretty cool, actually. The Isleños were one group who came to Louisiana from the Canary Islands. They came here because they had very few opportunities to better their life there in the Canary Islands. They were ruled by very harsh noblemen. They had severe weather, ruined crops, not a lot of prosperity for them. They were literally starving to death. So they learned that Spain had taken possession of Louisiana colony. So some of them came to give Louisiana a chance. They said, hey, it's got to be better than where we're from. You know, and some like your family, maybe your great-grandparents, they came to America for a better life, you know, and that's the same way the Isleños had come. So the Isleños came here and they settled pretty much in the areas of St. Bernard, Ascension, and Plaquemines Parish. And that's where the museum is today. And they lived by trapping, fishing, hunting, trading. They were really outdoorsy. These were like Duck Dynasty people before Duck Dynasty, okay? These were the people, they were like all about outdoors. They weren't about, you know, learning, reading, all those other kinds of things. They're about surviving. And one of the cool things about the Isleños community is that they're very, very good at preserving their culture. And if you do go to the Isleños Museum, which I highly encourage you to do, you're going to see a lot of that still on display, and it's really, really interesting. So when we go to class on Monday, which you'll be watching this on, you should be watching it on Tuesday, but I know some of you just love the Ms. Meyer Show so much you've got to watch it right away. We're going to talk about the Kentalks, the Spanish conspiracy, and the Acadians. And that's about it we're going to do this week. So that is all I have for you guys today on the Ms. Meyer Show, but I do have a super surprise. 1 second. Vivian, what is your favorite color?
Cookie.
Cookie's your favorite color?
Mhm.
What's your favorite number?
Elmo.
Elmo. What's your favorite food?
Cinderella.
Huh?
Cinderella.
Who?
Cinderella.
Oh, Cinderella's your favorite food?
Mhm.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A robot.
What?
Robot.
Huh?
Robot.
I don't know what that is.
It's robot.
A wooba?
Robot.
A boba? What is that?
Robot.
Okay. Well, what is your name?
Kate.
Your name's Kate?
Mhm.
And what's my name?
Mom.
And what's his name right here?
Sugar.
Tigger. And how old are you, Vivian?
Ale.
You're Ariel? Okay. No, you're 2.
Two.
You're 2. No, 2. 2. How many are you, Vivian?
Three.
No, you're not 3. Vivian, how old are you?
Fever.
I know you're Vivian, but how old are you?
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. It's Mickey Mouse in her pants. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Vivian.
Fever.
Yeah, Vivian. What's your favorite toy?
Meh.
Huh?
Meh.
What?
Meh.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Meh.
What is your favorite toy?
Meh.
What?
Kate.
What about Kate?
Kate playing toys with Meh.
Kate plays the toys with you?
Mhm.
Is Belle mean?
Mhm.
You want me to go hit her?
Mhm.
Can I go and slap her?
Mhm.
Can I hit Daddy?
Yeah.
I can?
Mhm.
Can I hit Vivian?
No.
What's the code word?
Lobby, lobby.
Lobby. That's Hobby Lobby. Okay?
Lobby.
What's the code word? What's the code word, Vivian?
Lobby, lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
I would say that you have to guard against the downside.
Say Hobby Lobby.
It can be
Lobby.
No, Hobby.
there's a chance that that deal
No,
won't work out.
she's a guy.
Jesus.
Let a deal like that take you down if it doesn't work.
Say night.
Morgan is
Wait.
Say bye.
Bye.
Wait, bye.